Good evening and welcome. This is simply Frank, and I'm Frank. The 28th of April, an amazing day. We were celebrating the father of the nation, Dr. Kenneth David Kaunda, the first president of this great country. In the studio tonight, I am privileged to have somebody who was very, very close, to President Kaunda, and now is president of, Unip, the longest surviving political party. And why has it survived? It's got a very strong political, fiber. I have in the studio Bishop Dr. Trevor Mwamba, president of Unip. A pleasure to have you.
A great pleasure to be with you, Ambassador Frank Mutubila. It's a great honor to be invited to be with you.
You look great. You are in great shape. Obviously, God playing a part in what you are, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. It is written, those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall run and not be weary. Something to that effect, yes.
I know you were out of the country.
Yes.
So you didn't have time to celebrate. But you wrote an amazing, tribute. There's so much in that tribute, but I've just plucked one sentence: a colossus of a man. Put that in perception.
Colossus, a giant,
Yeah.
An icon,
Yeah.
a model, above ordinary.
Yeah.
And that comes from his character.
Yeah.
He loved people.
Yeah.
And I think anybody who really loves people is very special.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are big in it.
Yeah.
Just by that attitude of love.
Yeah.
He was a man who served people.
Yeah.
Not just loved them, but served them.
Yeah.
His bias for the poor. His bias for justice.
Yeah.
And in this context, internationally, we think of him helping the various liberation movements at the time, which were hosted by Zambia. So he was a man Colossus, who loved God above all, and felt that people made in the image of God deserve to be loved and served and appreciated. And that made him great. I think that's the thing that makes us great.
Yeah, brilliant. Actually, maintain perspective, right? I would like us. There's so many things that we can talk about.
Absolutely,
but I would like us to move, systematically. After so many years of fighting, leading the liberation movement, you would have thought he would be angry, but his first assignment was to unite the country.
That's right.
Through one Zambia, one nation. Pick it up from there, how important this beginning was.
Absolutely. First, of course, there was a struggle to liberate the country from colonial oppression, political oppression. And the fight was to bring about a new dispensation where every person, in spite of their color, creed, race, gender, are equal because they're made in the image of God.
Yeah.
And so to do that, you need a certain character, attitude of appreciating the other. Even though they wronged you.
Yeah.
So he was inspired, and in fact, he lived the spirit of forgiveness.
Yeah.
Because that's also an important attribute in a great leader and a great person. You forgive. As we are reminded, Jesus on the cross also said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing.
Yeah.
So the forgiveness becomes paramount. And then, of course, it's the building of this new dispensation, this new environment where people must recognize that we're all one.
Yeah.
And work for each other's benefit. So he brought in a way, our African philosophy of Ubuntu. I am because you are.
Yeah.
And without you, I cannot be.
Yeah.
And therefore, the need to live out that expression, which is an ancient African approach to life. And then there's the other dimension, actually. It's interesting when in India, in Hindu, the greeting, which I find fascinating, when they say namaste.
Yeah.
Now, namaste simply means I worship the God in you.
Right.
So you see the importance of the individual. So one Zambia, one nation, becomes this motto, this philosophy, this vow to ensure that everybody is included. No one is left out.
Yeah.
And together, only together, can we build a nation and a society that is of benefit to everybody's welfare.
He was the son of a reverend like me.
Yes.
Was this also at play? Was this background an advantage?
Absolutely, absolutely. You see, in life, all of us, we are affected by our environment, by what we are taught by our parents, the society in which we live. What are the values that drive that society? So he was brought up as a son of a reverend. And one of the paramount things about his father, of course, as a reverend, he taught the love of God. And in teaching the love of God, also taught the importance of the individual, whom God loves.
Yeah.
It's God who made us, and God made us in love, which is his image. So he had this awareness that we live for each other, as I alluded to in the context of Ubuntu, but it was expressed in a very positive way. So then, in terms of his outlook, politically, it framed how he approached those who may be considered enemies, or those he was fighting against. Not because they were evil, but in a sense that they were not living this life which we all ought to live, which is tolerant and respectful of the other. And it's only the Christian spirit within one, and in this case, President Kaunda, within himself, that was manifest in how he approached life. Yes, so that's the very important thing.
Absolutely. His first, cabinet.
Yes.
Again, it was representative.
Quite.
Albeit, no women in that, cabinet. Why was it so important for the cabinet to represent all the provinces than just to appoint people on merit? In retrospect, wasn't he telling us that we are tribal people?
Yes, indeed. Because society, in fact, he was trying to erase the colonial philosophy and approach to governance, which was simple. It was a simple formula: divide and rule. That's how the colonialists managed to hold so many colonies, because they divided, they raised one ethnic group above the other and created that chaotic situation, which was not about equality. President Kaunda came up with it, and our founders together, so that, yes, we inherited this situation of different ethnic groups created into a nation. But to be a nation, we couldn't go back to our individual ancient community contexts, but we have to build a nation where everybody's inclusive. And so the unity was paramount. So in that sense, our founders, leaders, they were very wise. All of them were extremely talented. Any one of them could have been president. Very wise. But they realized that working together was the way forward. And you needed a brilliant leader to ensure that you kept to the script. And hence appointments were made in a way that there was balance. No ethnic group, no tribe, no region felt
Yeah.
left out. So it was inclusive. And that's the magic. And that's what we need.
Yeah.
It was deliberate.
Absolutely.
Deliberate.
Yeah, but he left out the women. Was that gender insensitive, bishop, or it was driven by the cultural, norms?
Now, that is a very good question.
Yeah.
I would think, given the general approach and attitude and philosophy and belief of President Kaunda, he would not discriminate.
Right.
But I think there was, to some element, of course, one would think, in terms of the qualification or the ability of the people needed at the time.
Yeah.
As of course, women in our society at the time, many of them did not have the education. There was some. I think of Mrs. Gwendolyn Coney, among others. Later on, he appointed Dr. Mutumba Bull. Mutumba Bull.
Yeah.
She was the first woman cabinet. So when the women began to rise in terms of education, he brought them in.
Yeah.
So there was that. But I think at the beginning, one would think that there was a dearth of the kind of quality and caliber needed at the time. But women played a very fundamental role in the whole Unip liberation struggle to free Zambia. So he acknowledged that.
Excellent. We talked about the beginning, the importance of one Zambia in a one nation.
Correct.
A masterpiece, after that, free education.
Absolutely.
How big, how massive was that decision?
Brilliant. You think about it, because first let's just focus on the importance of education. The greatest resource any nation has, it's not the minerals out there, the copper, the gold, the gemstones, the emeralds, whatever you may have out there. The greatest resource of any country are its people, the people.
Yeah.
And at independence, there were less than 100 graduates.
Yeah.
Now, how do you develop a country if you don't have educated people?
Yeah.
So the focus of that initial leadership was to educate her people. And it was not just education, having lots of people, but quality education.
Yeah.
So the University of Zambia was built, many schools were built, education was free, and that's how you develop country. We, along the way, have lost that horribly.
Yeah.
And of course, we talk about free education now, but the question is, of what quality is that?
Absolutely.
You have a classroom of 100 children, and it's deplorable, really. So back to your question, education.
Yeah.
And that's what we as a nation right now need. And especially with the whole digital, technological context in which we're living in, we need to be very much focused on putting our resources in educating our people.
And
Our fathers had it.
Yeah.
And all of us are beneficiary.
Yeah.
Ambassador, you are beneficiary.
Yeah.
I am a beneficiary.
Yeah.
The present crop of leaders are beneficiary of that. Yeah, but we forget certain things.
Absolutely.
Which are
And he gave us a sense of ownership by all of us contributing to the building of the University of Zambia.
Absolutely. A sense of ownership, a sense of participation. Yeah, a sense of being part of. And we need that. We need the volunteering dimension and participation. But education resource, our greatest resource, as I say, are our people, well educated. And in fact, you think about it, and the more I think about it, the more I marvel at the talent of Zambians who are educated and who have gone out into the world and achieved great things because of the education they received.
It must break your heart, Bishop, to see the University of Zambia in the state it is in right now. It's closed, for redoing, the water system, the sewer system. Honestly,
it is
what are your thoughts on that?
Abysmal. It is absolutely outrageous. When deplorable. I'm lost for words. Because I remember being a young student at university as a law student there. And in those days, I lived in a part of the university called the Ruins, which was quite fascinating. President Hall was my hall, but it had a certain beauty. It was just called the Ruins. Now, I went back after some years, 2022 actually, when we're preparing the annual lecture, President Kaunda, the first annual lecture, which my party Unip organized with the university. And I met the dean of the social science and humanities, and I told him, I was a student here, and I lived in the ruins, I said.
Yeah.
And he laughed. He says, "Oh yes, you lived in, but now they're total ruins."
My God.
And they are, and it is terrible. I mean, how could we let a great institution like that sink to the depth that it has sunk?
Yeah.
And of course, the sanitation and what we saw, the protests of the students, totally. When I was a student, we had 2 people per room.
Yeah.
And our rooms were literally like a hotel. The cafeteria, it was a 5-star hotel.
Absolutely.
5-course meal and other things. But now I hear, you have 5+ people in one room. I mean, what are we saying? As I said at the beginning, in terms of education, the greatest resource we have are the people. Yeah. But they need an environment in which they can study properly, in which they can be able to, learn properly. But when you have issues of water, sanitation, filth, and all that, we've lost the plot.
Absolutely. Let me digress a little bit, Bishop. I'll get back on the rails of, the first, president. The mention of the University of Zambia reminds me, that you were in class in school with the 6th president.
Yes, indeed, I was.
Yes,
I was.
This nation has failed to bury, 10 months down the line. What is going through your mind?
11 months coming up, and evil. It's you can't imagine such a situation. In terms of just looking at death and as human beings, it's one of those immensely moments of immense grief in any context of a family. To lose a loved one, it's a milestone. So in this situation, we look at the family. You look at the community from which it came, but look at the family. We lose someone. The first thing we have to do is the respect and of burying them with dignity, with honor, with reverence. And those around, the communities participate. They come and console the family. Those who believe in the church, and then the priests and others come and uplift the family. Then the matter is, as it were, put to closure by the burial. The earlier, the better. Because when somebody dies, when we lose a loved one, also something dies within us who are living. And so anyway, that should have been done. It has not been done. To imagine that a country or a government or an administration can put an argument and stating in effect that the deceased belongs to the state. Were they there when he was born? Were they there when he was growing up? No. There is honor which is given, yes, but it's up to the family. So what has happened is actually a great disdainful insult to our human dignity as human beings. And one would say that, of course, as a state and so on, let the family bury. And of course, I was out of the country when I heard of what had happened in South Africa. Now that even lifts it to a higher level. Who does that? I mean, who in their rightful sense does that? Snatching a body of somebody's, family and doing what was done. So that's why I say in the context, evil. There's something evil.
You were involved in the arrangements, in the burial of the man we're talking about on this program, Dr. Kaunda. How did you manage, to put him away smoothly. What is so different from the time Dr. Kaunda died, the process, and now? How did we arrive here?
Well, in that case, I mean, being aware of what was going on is that there was an agreement with the family and the state, an amicable agreement. That's the simple thing about it. Now, where there is no agreement, I don't think the state or government administration should run roughshod over the expressed will of a family. I'll also share with you something personal, that when I was in Botswana, my father-in-law was the second president of Botswana, Sakitmirima City. When he died, the family, again, were in charge of what happened. The state came in, yes. But they were always consulting. What shall we do? And what is our role here? And they did that correctly. And in fact, I did the memorial service for that as well. So that's why I say the family becomes paramount. So where do we go wrong? It's where, as I said, you try to assume that the deceased belongs to you. No, the deceased belongs to the family. The state is there just to facilitate, to help.
Let's go back to, Dr. Kaunda, economic policy. During that time and even now, though we've got other minerals now, the country solely depended on the mining in the sector.
Right.
Dr. Kaunda quickly nationalized the mines. Was that the right decision?
A small clarification. It didn't exactly nationalize the mine, but bought the majority shares.
Right. Okay.
So the mines, so government had the majority shares. And bought them at market rate. Yes, it was in a way, because it was about giving Zambians that economic entrance and participation in the wealth of their country. And it's the way it was managed to critical minerals or any resources that belong to the people in the end. Yes, I believe in private enterprise. I believe in investors coming in. But ultimately, all should work for the benefit of the people. So at the time, the state, President Kaunda, and the leadership realized that the Zambians were not gaining out of the resources that God had given them. And hence the state stepped in to buy majority shares, so that the revenue and resource from that could be used for the development of the country, education, and health, and other social welfare services that were required. It was correct. And I think, you look at the Scandinavian countries, there's a kind of a mixed economy, where the state
absolutely
is involved. And I believe that's the right
In his defense, the copper prices slumped
absolutely
during that stage, which was extremely unfortunate. Then IMF,
and oil prices went up.
Absolutely. One notable thing, that he did, amazing. He introduced Memako, which was selling our copper.
Correct.
Which we've been unable to do today. How do you read into that?
He introduced Memako. Zamefa, and producing the copper roads, hence adding value.
Value addition. Which we're talking about now.
Value addition.
62 years old.
Correct. It's you look at the plans and things, the template is already there. Under the government, Unip government, all these things were there. And apart from Memako, you think also that of CIPEC, which was introduced. Now, of course, there's OPEC at the time, which was dealing with the oil-producing countries, so that they could control the prices of the oil and all that. So CIPEC was actually formed and led by Zambia. And these were copper-producing countries. The Congo, Chile, Zambia, and so on. They formed CIPEC so that they could have a say, a control over the price of copper on the London Stock Exchange. Of course, it's the vision. But this is foresightedness, vision, where we must have control. and then we can share and the resources for the benefit of the country developing. So add value, there was beneficiation in the word, and we were moving towards that. And having said that, I mean, talk about moving away from the mining industry, you look at the agriculture sector. Munilunga had the canning factory where pineapples and things were, we added value by manufacturing these things. Now, we hardly manufacture anything. Yes.
How did a man who didn't go far in school have that kind of vision? Was this a man who consulted, a team leader, a man who collaborated with other people? Was this part of his attributes?
It is called wisdom.
Right.
And wisdom is a gift from God. And those who have wisdom, they are more learned than those who can have 3 PhDs or 5 PhDs. You see, we can be very educated and very stupid. But our founders, the President Kaunda and that group of our founders, men and women, had wisdom. Many of them passed through mission schools. So there is a sense in which they knew what's right from what's wrong. And they lived those values. So when it came to leadership, yes, in contrast to now, many people have gone to university, they've got degrees, are in leadership. You can compare them to that flock or that group of wise people. They were very wise. So education is the ability to understand what works, what does not work, what helps, what does not help, and they had it. Wisdom is how I'll sum up President Kaunda and others.
His role in the liberation, of the region has been written about. Some have condemned him, that he overstepped. He spent too much money, too much time on the liberation movement as against only developing his own country. And indeed, it cost us a lot of money to liberate, Zimbabwe, for example, South Africa. What are your thoughts on that?
His assistance to the liberation movement, first and foremost, after was immense. Paramount. It was immense. But he's coming from the spirit, and this is the time in which we're living in, they were living in, which was called Pan-Africanism. He was there at Ghana's independence, the 6th of March, 1957, when Ghana became independent. He was there, and some of the other founding fathers were there. I think Mr. Kapwepwe and others were there. But here's the point. At that independence celebration, the president of Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah, he made a very profound statement. He said the independence of Ghana was meaningless until the whole of Africa, still under colonial rule and apartheid oppression, was liberated. And so Ghana's independence was meaningless. President Kaunda, in many ways, I look at it, he inherited the spirit of Nkrumah, of Pan-Africanism. So when Zambia became independent, his focus was that he should also, Zambia's independence was meaningless. But here we were in the southern region, surrounded by countries under colonial and apartheid oppression, and all the liberation movements found home in Zambia. The ANC from South Africa, the SWAPO from Namibia, MPLA and
Angola.
ZANU, ZAPU, they found a home here. Yes, of course. The cost was immense, but it's a sacrifice gladly given in terms of helping those in need. And in fact, there's a book written, Ambassador, you rightly, in terms of our cost, by Richard Hall, entitled The High Price of Principles. Absolutely, it was about principles. But now, look at it now. Unip, Zambia is held in very high esteem by these countries because they saw that this Zambia was our haven, and we gave material support.
Yeah.
We gave financial support. Education at University of Zambia.
The current president of
Correct,
Zimbabwe.
of Zimbabwe,
was
yes.
at the university.
President Mnangagwa was educated there. People like Barbara Masekela, I recall.
Gengop was here as director of the Namibian Institute.
Correct.
Yeah.
It is, I think, 4 out of 5 of the Namibian presidents lived in Zambia.
Amazing.
2, I think, out of 5 of the South African were in Zambia.
Yeah. Thabo Mbeki lived here.
Absolutely. Jacob Zuma.
Yeah.
So we're thinking about a country that, in the true spirit of Ubuntu,
such a rich,
helping each other.
Such a rich history.
Indeed, and we ought to be proud of this. And many people don't know about it. Our children need to be taught about it because it defines our identity.
Absolutely.
That we are a country of those who welcome those who are in need. And President Kaunda demonstrated that. But having said that, you see, he went beyond just helping the region. He also looked beyond Zambia in the context of his role as an international statesman, his role in the Commonwealth, his role as a member of the non-aligned movement of countries, NAM, people like Pandit Nehru, Nyerere, Kaunda, these were iconic pillars.
And very close to the Queen.
Of course. Yes, I say, I was about to say they loved each other, but I mean, that is very true.
Absolutely.
And we may...
The man who danced with Margaret Thatcher.
That was 1979.
Absolutely.
The Commonwealth Aids of Government, which crafted the independence of Zimbabwe. And of course, the domino effect led to the ultimate freedom of South Africa. And it was held here when that was crafted. And one of the tactics to smooth, as it were, the objection of the then Prime Minister of England, Margaret Thatcher, was a dance. So she melted in his hands, and it was all history after that.
Amazing.
Great statesman.
Let's talk about non-alignment. Why have I brought up these? Zambia's foreign policy now is a source of concern, to a lot of people. That our geopolitical status is not properly, defined. During, the voting at the UN, the US, the Russia-Ukraine war, I think we abstained. The war between Israel and Palestine, I think we're on the side of Israel, at a time when a lot of countries, especially African countries, were condemning, Israel. Meanwhile, Dr. Kaunda, adopted a non-aligned, policy. How do you reconcile, the two positions, Bishop?
Again, we've lost the plot. From the beginning, as you rightly say, in the non-aligned approach of our foreign policy was based on principles. Principles. What was right, what was wrong. Whether the United States did something wrong, Zambia would speak out. Russia did something wrong, Zambia would speak out. So it was based on principles, which is always an important thing in life. And then, of course, we must see the non-aligned group of countries in context of the times, the geopolitics. This was the time of the Cold War. So you had on one side an American camp, and then the other side, so to speak, I'm simplifying, the Soviet Union as it was before its collapse. And then you had all these other countries, and these two superpowers were like trying to drag you into their camp. But Zambia, Nehru in India, Nasser of Egypt, Castro and Nyerere, they said, hey, wait a minute. Us as nations, we have our own interests. And we shall not be taught who will be our enemy or who will be our friend. We will deal with whoever we feel, is of assistance to us. And we will. So coming back to what you're saying.
Yeah.
So President Kaunda's approach was very well defined, and people respected him for his truth. He stood up. At the beginning, I think one of the great of our great foreign policy masters, of course, Dr. Vernon Mwanga.
Yeah.
And he was at the UN. Now, at independence, Zambia at the time pushed for the re-entry of China
Yes.
to the United Nations.
Yeah.
Until finally it was done in 1972. But there was a consistency there. Having said that, later on, President Ronald Reagan described President Kaunda as one of the most senior and revered statesman in the world. He said that, whose counsel was looked upon admirably. Because in life, if you tell the truth, you live the truth, people respect you for that. So our foreign policy was crafted on principles.
Yeah.
So we've lost that.
Yeah.
If our foreign policy is crafted on interest, then we lose the plot.
Fast forward, because of the time factor, I'm going to combine, this question, Bishop. He called for an early election in 1993 years, before the elections won. Was it because of the economic crisis the country was, facing, or was he overconfident that he was going to win, or was he just a patriot, that let me open up, democracy? A loaded in a question.
No, a very good question, Ambassador, because you see, many people at times look to President Kaunda and the time of the one-party state and describe him as a dictator.
Yeah.
But then when you look at the way we reverted back to multipartyism, it was possible only because he himself was a catalyst.
Yeah.
He himself expedited the process. For example, when people were talking about getting back to multipartyism, the path should have been that we go through a referendum. He jumped that stage. He said, forget about it. So he signed an executive order instructing Parliament to simply amend the particular provision that stated that Zambia is a one-party state. And that opened up. He helped the process. He was a listener to the needs and the cries and aspiration of the Zambian people, because they were his masters in the end. So coming back to his saying about bringing the time of the elections forward, having done that, yes, there were another 2-3 years before the elections. He brought it forward just because he listened to the people.
Yeah.
A leader must be one who listens and let the people, they're our masters.
Yeah. How do you reconcile that to where we are today? And how do you describe where we are, today? And how did we arrive, here? And in that, chipping whether the one Zambia, one nation, which Dr. Kaunda initiated, is in danger.
You see, we started about the character of the man.
Yeah.
Service, love of the people. The people are the masters of politicians. He understood that. And then how he accelerated the process, expedited the process of returning to multipartyism by facilitating the whole process. And then, in contrast to all this, because he respected the Zambian people. In contrast to where we are, what we see, and the facts speak for themselves, it's a power grab. There's one who was prepared to let go. Then there are those who are not prepared to let go, and who ensure that they tighten every screw to enable them to remain against the wishes of the people. You can never fight against people, never. And in the end, history teaches that those who have tried and tried and tried, have failed and failed and failed. True leadership is listen to the voice of the people. The people say A, B, C, D, abide and do, because you are there because of them. They are the ultimate power. So what we see, Ambassador, your question is very deep and profound, is a sense in which true leadership is service. You're not there to dictate, to dominate, to oppress. That is not leadership.
What message do you have, as we walk or run towards the elections on the 13th of August? What do you see, ahead of you, and what message do you have for the 22 million or so Zambians?
There is a desperation in our nation for something good to come about, or a seeking for peace, a seeking for change, which enhances all of us. I'm a priest. I've been a priest for 41 years. Half of that is a bishop. And I mention this because I realize, and we live in a moral universe.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we don't belong to ourselves. God is there. And God is concerned about the welfare of his people. You may recall the story in the Old Testament of Moses.
Yeah.
And God telling him, go.
Yeah.
I have heard the cry of my people. So what is the future for Zambia? I believe that the future for Zambia is actually very bright. Because God is in truth always prevails.
Yeah.
Love always prevails. Peace shall always prevail. There may be those who may fight against this sense of liberty, but it won't work, because ultimately it's God who is in control of our little lives.
Yeah.
And so for the Zambian people, we are people of peace. We're one Zambia, one nation. We must preserve this legacy which we've been given by our founders, the legacy of working together, the legacy of building a nation where everyone feels included. And in that context, even the different political parties must learn to work together. And let's go for the best in terms of getting the best leaders, whether in politics, whether in the corporate world, and to build our nation. And it will be done.
Yeah. As the son of a reverend, I always ask this question as my final question, and what an appropriate man, and time to ask, you this. When we leave the studio and you meet Jesus, outside, what kind of conversation would you undertake with him?
The good Lord. Well, I would say to the good Lord, and I think that's what he expects of us.
Yeah.
We say, Lord, I lived. I tried to help the poor.
Yeah.
I tried to give water to the thirsty. I tried to clothe the naked. I tried to visit the prisoner, the sick. I tried to uplift humanity. And Jesus would say, well done, good and faithful servant. We are here to help each other and uplift the different gifts God has given us to work together for the good of all. And then when you've lived a life like that, you would have lived truly.
Bishop, I thank you.
It's a great honor, Ambassador. Always a great joy to be with you. Thank you.
Wow. What can you say? That was Bishop Dr. Trevor Mwamba, president of Unip, reminiscing, on the times with, Dr. Kaunda, the founder of this great, nation. My message, related to the work of Dr. Kaunda is that Dr. Kaunda worked extremely hard, for this country. As a rider, to that, you and me, we must do our best, and God will do the rest. This has been Simply Frank, my guest, Bishop Dr. Trevor Mwamba. Simply Frank every Wednesday at 21 hours on BMTV. I'm Frank. Good night.